I always manage to press the wrong buttons. Welcome, friends. God, my voice sounds terrible this morning. Ooh. Well, in any case, good morning. Welcome to yet another stream. Hopefully you're having a wonderful Sunday so far. How's everyone doing today? How are we doing? And Dylan, thank you so much for the host. I appreciate it. Hopefully you're doing well this morning. Hope everything's going for you as well. Well. Oh, what's going on, Dan? What's going on, Chuchi? How's it going, guys? I went to bed kind of late last night. It was like, I think 2 a.m. or something. And the animals managed to wake me up at like 8 o'clock this morning. So I begrudgingly accepted it. So I went and took the dog on a longish walk around the park, which was nice. I just made some coffee and I was like, you know what? Let's stream. Let's do it. So feels like the best way to approach being awake. And I'll be really tired later. So that's fine. Cool. So as far as what we're going over today, or what's happening today in terms of work. So last stream, we got this component here working fairly well. I'm actually pretty proud of how I went in with basically no idea of what was going to happen, and we came out with what I think looks like a decent feed component. We do have one thing left. We have to get up here is sort of where we're going to put tagged users. So if you tag users on your check-in, we're going to want to go and display their icons here. Yeah, there's some work to be done there. The other thing we have to do is that we downloaded another font to, I don't remember if I have the Figma designs handy. We ended up throwing another font here on the title just to sort of give it some differentiation between the name of the person. So like just to make these a little different here, my approach was to use a different font. It turns out getting a new font in your React Native build is a bit of a process, and so I tried to do that and consequently broke my Xcode build, which is where we ended the stream last time. So I need to get that figured out because that's really bad. So yeah, we're gonna have to. So what I did is I went ahead and tried to clean up my Git history a little bit better. I went ahead and committed. I committed the storybook files that we added. So this little setup here is not actually the full app. It's just Storybook. So Storybook lets you like have a bunch of different components that you can view in different states, which is kind of cool. I was using it as sort of something that I hope would, motivate me to design more. And I think it mostly worked, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, it's there. It's not really doing anything crazy. But, what am I trying to say? But yeah, so I did that, and I went ahead and reverted the changes that got made to our info.p list and like our Xcode build things. And so now we're gonna try and rebuild the thing. I can't speak this morning. And hopefully this works. The problem is, so what we're gonna do is, so here. So React Native CLI uses auto-linking for native dependencies, but the following modules are linked manually. Oh, I was reading that. And I think this is just to do with, I think I accidentally followed the manual instructions when installing these. Going forward, you can unlink this dependency via React Native unlink dependency, and it will be included in your app automatically. If the library is incompatible with auto-linking, disregard this message and notify the library maintainers. Okay, so I do want to check this because I think this is correct. So I think when I went and installed the React Native vector icons, I think I accidentally followed the manual instructions, which like is fine. Because it's working fine, but now what we were doing at the end of the stream is I was going through the instructions on a post I found on how to add fonts to your React Native project, like, because they have to get added to Xcode and to Gradle, but I'm not worrying about Android right now. And so I ran React Native link, and that basically borked everything, and I think it's because I manually included the vector icons, so I think those got included twice. So all that's to say is I think this is a good idea. We should probably just do this now. I want to make sure this gets installed properly because, you know, I'm likely going to have other things I'm going to need to, like, you know, add assets to my bundle with. So this feels like something I should take care of. So this is what I did. I'm nearly positive. Was the option manually? Now there's also React Native Link, which the reason I didn't do this, I don't think, is because I thought React Native Link was like no longer used above React Native 0.60. So that, I guess, should be the first thing I look at, is what actually is React Native Link doing? Am I still using it? Should I still be using it? You know. So automatic linking. Install a library with native dependencies. Save or save dev flag is very important for this step. React Native will link your webs based on dependencies and dev dependencies in your package.json file. And then you run React Native link. Okay, so if your iOS project is using CocoaPods, which we are, and a linked library has a pod spec file, then npx React Native link will link library using pod file. Great. Yeah, so otherwise we do manual linking, which is more along the lines of what I did. So the general gist, I think, is basically that I shouldn't have to open Xcode to manually edit the build stuff. I think it's right. Okay, so if that's the case, then let's go ahead and unlink the library we have now. And so we're gonna go ahead and stop this build because that's gonna take a while. Oh, sorry, just kidding, it already worked. There was just a weird. Okay, so we want to unlink dependency and will be included in your app automatically. So React Native unlink React Native vector icons. There's nothing to unlink. Unlinking assets are... Okay, so let's see if that did anything first. So that changed our pod file. Okay. Now this is the part where hopefully things don't like blow up my build horribly, but that's been my experience so far. Is that if I slightly change something, then my build just gets utterly destroyed. So we're gonna make sure we have React Native vector icons is here. Great. Okay, so what we're gonna try and do is we're gonna try and run npm run, or it's, sorry, React Native link. Okay, that was pretty fast. Kind of suspiciously fast. So that added a bunch of fonts. So these are all the icons for React Native vector icons. So I'm gonna try and build on iOS again, and let's see if this fails horribly, because it very well might. And I know this is not the most exciting thing ever, and truly what I want to get onto is building this again, but I want to be able to add a damn font. So, sort of as expected, things are dying horribly. So we have a duplicate output file, which is sort of what I thought. So what I'm going to do to try and make this work, so I think the easiest way to do this is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to discard the changes that just got made. So it changed also. Okay, we'll discard our prod file changes as well, and then our projects here. So the reason I'm doing this is that first we're going to try and completely remove the fact that we have the icons in our build right now, because that's what's happening, I'm pretty sure, is that it's just duplicating them and it's yelling about that. So if we go ahead and run here on iOS again, we expect this to work. Yeah, so it's building. So I think this is going to work. I'm actually going to halt this. With my sweet, sweet Comic Sans. No, it says, I actually really like the font that I'm using. Am I using it here? No, so it's not Roboto Slab, but it's this free open source font that I actually really like. It's called Young Serif. Looks like this. I think it looks really cool. I'm actually very into it, and the fact that it's like a completely free and open source one that I can use without paying, a lot of money for it is great. And again, I think it really needs it. I think the names, and maybe I could unbold the name also. Maybe that's something, maybe we just de-emphasize the date. Anyways, the point is that this is sort of a necessary evil, right? So I apologize for it being build error stream right now, but great. So let me just like reopen this again. Oh, that completely closed it. That's not what I want at all. Okay, I assume I want this. Tabletop, great. So we have fonts provided by application. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of these. So we didn't want those. So where would those be? Libraries? Doesn't look like it. Pods. Boost for React Native products. There's some assets here. Those are images. Products, tabletop.app. So are there any fonts here? Am I missing something? Build options, deployment, linking, packaging, search paths. Okay, so I think this all seems fine. So I removed the fonts from the info.p list. So now let's look here. So info.p list, we removed references to Font Awesome. What I'm gonna do is search this info.p list to see if there's any other references to Font Awesome. No, there's not. There's only one for UI app fonts, which is not a thing, so that seems good. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna make a paper trail for ourselves, so we can, revert all this if shit goes bad. So, we're gonna manually remove, or we already did, manually remove fonts from Xcode project. Great, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and do the pod install. So this is CD iOS. Now I assume I can delete pods, but I wanna make sure that's correct. So I believe that CocoaPods is very similar to, say how NPM or Yarn works, and the fact that it installs all of it to pods, but that isn't actually, what gets... I can delete those and reinstall it, basically. So I want to make sure. So we're going to look at how Podcodes works real quick. So this should be a pretty quick thing to do. I guess guides is probably what I want. Troubleshooting. Using the CocoaPods. I just wanted to basically say that I can remove the pods folder and re-download it. That's what I'm trying to do. Alright, let's look at the getting started part then. What's going on, Brady? What am I doing up before noon? I have 3 animals who are very annoying in the morning because they want to be fed. So in an effort to try and let Nikki sleep for longer, I sacrificed me getting any amount of longer sleep to get up and feed them. Which is usually the case. One of us has to do that, especially on weekends when we're trying to sleep in. Because they're truly so annoying. Like, Korak will get up on the bed and just like stand on you and meow because he thinks he's starving. And then Juno really likes to cuddle with you, or in my case, he's like really into like, he just like constantly licks. It's like a husky thing apparently, but it's so fucking annoying. But he just like, he's a big enough dog to where I was like basically like fucking cuddling the dog in the bed this morning, but he was doing it because he wants me to wake up so I can feed him. And then he like starts to think it's time to play, and I'm like, dude, no, it's 8:30 in the morning. Please, for God, let me sleep. But that doesn't work either. So, moral of the story is having a dog is great, but also you kind of can't sleep in on weekends. So even though I went to bed at 2 a.m. yesterday, that's what I'm doing up right now. Okay, so updating Cocoa Pods, using Cocoa Pods fork, using Cocoa Pods. Pod install versus pod update. Whether or not you check in your pod folder is up to you, as workflows vary from project to project. We recommend you keep your pod files directly. Oh, they recommended that you keep it under source control? So that's different. So what I was assuming here is that pods is the equivalent of node modules, and node modules you don't check into source almost ever, I don't think, because the point is that between your package.json and your lock file, if you have one, running npm or yarn install on a separate machine is you basically create a tree of what you should be installing. So that isn't necessary. Like that's kind of the point. Oh, but they're just saying you don't have to run pod install and you don't need internet connection, which is fair. I think that's probably an argument for, including your node module structure, I guess, if people do that, which they might. So, okay, so the pod file and pod file lock. Okay, great. So this is basically giving me the go-ahead to remove the pods file. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. And then we're going to go ahead and run the pod install. So now if this doesn't work, I might have horribly turbo fucked my build, but I think it should be fine. So we want to make sure that React Native vector icons is here, and it is. Oh god, that's not one. So that's good. Also, I don't know if I said hello Brady, how's it going? Good morning. All right, we generated a pods project, we integrated it, great. So I think that's pretty good, I think. So let's go ahead and look at our Git status. Okay, so now our pod file lock has changed. What did we... Excuse me. Ooh. That was bad. I said manually remove fonts from Xcode project. Did that change my pod file? I don't remember how to compare that commit. Show changes between the working tree and an index or tree, changes between the index and a tree, changes between two trees, changes between two blob objects, or changes between two files on disk. The changes you stayed for the next commit, view changes you have in your working tree relative to the new commit, between two arbitrary commits. Oh, so I should just do this and head. Oh, because it is head. Oh, I'm a dumbass. What did I do? I don't know. Save to jettison the pods. Indeed. They should call it that. That should be the command I can get, is pod space jettison. Just removes it. Do they have that? That would be a good joke. Oh, no jettison. Missed opportunity, I think. Okay, so with pod files done, let's try and run the build and see if it works. It still says they're linked manually. Okay, so let me commit the pod file. So update Cocoa Pods. So we're gonna go ahead and run React Native, unlink React Native vector icons. It's saying there's nothing to unlink, which is not true. And it's removing it from the pod file, which, like, also isn't correct, right? Like, I don't think this helps. Because if we look at the React Native icons thing, so not the manually installation, option with CocoaPods, you need to add the following to your pod file and run pod update. Which is like literally what this line is. So if we cd into iOS, so can I use that syntax? Can I use colons? That's really nice, actually. Gives you a little GIF of the escape pod taking off. That would be really nice. I would like that a lot. So it does say to ignore this message if it's not compatible with auto-linking. Option with React Native Link. Some users are having trouble using this method. Try one of the others if you are too. See, the confusing part is, so this is sort of like a transitional thing, right? So React Native's on, what, 0.68 right now, I think? Oh, sorry, 0.61. So, latest version 0.62. I should probably update at some point. That's probably gonna be hell though. The problem is some things used React Native Link before, and some of them used CocoaPods. So it's like very confusing. Okay, so the icons work fine, right? In this context. So let's go ahead and build, and the only error will be that the fonts won't work, but that's fine, I think, because this part of the build's working fine, so I shouldn't fuck with this, I don't think. Even if it's done incorrectly, which I don't think it is, actually. I think the CocoaPods approach is the right approach anyways. Which is so baffling. Like I said last stream, obviously it's still relative limited experience with React Native. I really like everything. I feel like everything's really easy to write and all this, but I just hate how terrified I feel of messing with my build. And again, like, maybe that's already the case with like iOS and Android apps in general. Like, maybe mobile app builds are already just very fragile, but like, this feels terrible. The fact that I have to be like, oh god, like, shit might just horribly break. And again, I'm like, I'm just trying to add a fucking font, man. And obviously, it's a different paradigm, right? Like, adding a font on the web is like pretty trivial. And it's just a different thing. Obviously, some things are going to be harder, some things are going to be easier. So, it is what it is, but it's still frustrating. You've been trying to make it into work, and now you might doink it up by no one's fault but your own. Yes. But I would say the other thing is that no one's fault by my own, but also I don't know why I doinked it up. Like, if it was something I understood better and I had a good grasp of, like, why things were failing. So, like, I feel a lot better about this. Like, so at work we use Webpack, which is a pretty common bundler for, basically it takes a bunch of files, mostly JavaScript, but also like images. It can take CSS files, like the whole thing, and like poops it out into like basically like one HTML file, one CSS file, and one JavaScript file. And it's relatively confusing, I'd say, but like I've worked with it enough to where like I have a vague understanding of how it works, and like if shit broke in our Webpack build, like I think I could figure it out. But with this, I'm like, I have no fucking clue. Oh, okay, so the icons are actually broken. Okay. Alright, well, yeah, the icons are still broken, so that's good. Alright, so we're gonna try React Native Link, because at this point we have nothing to fucking lose, man. So, let's just try this, right? Let's try and unlink it. Okay, and I think that's the wrong thing, but that's fine. And then we're gonna try React Native Link. And it's going to link, hopefully, everything, right? This adds a bunch of things to Android. I don't know if it adds it to iOS. Sort of ambiguous on what's happening there. And now let's try building again, and it's going to break horribly, I'm sure. Isn't that the Mario font replaces characters with question mark boxes? Yep. Everything's gamified. Yeah, it very much is trial and error. I hate it, though. Okay, what's... that's a lot of warnings. Multiple commands produce... Okay, so let's go and make this bigger so I can actually read it. Multiple commands produce Tabletop app, feather.ttf. Target Tabletop has copy command from node modules, React Native vector icons, fonts, feather.ttf. That command depends on command in target Tabletop project script phrase copy pods resources. So this to me is indicating that it's trying to do it both via I think this is yelling at me because it's doing it both via the pod file and via React Native linking, which is a different process, I guess. So I think that's what's happening. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is remove the pods directory, and let me resize this window back. I just needed to read that massive error. Great, so pod, and then we're going to go ahead and pod install. And now, let me double check, but I believe the pod file has been updated, so the React Native vector icons is no longer there. So it should be handled via the linking, not via the pod files, like, which I just wish everything was handled via pod files, but that clearly is not working. So we're not going to worry about that. Now, and I believe the reason why, actually, and if you go ahead and read, if you actually read things, which that tends to help, the reason why is that, oh, actually. Bug. Sunny, really? I forgot to put the door stop in. Oh no. Mister. Darn kitty cat. The cat has been thrown out. Okay. Anyways, like I was saying, so if we actually read things, when it says with CocoaPods, you still have to edit the info.p list, which is what I reverted in that commit. So let's just not worry about it, because I basically, what I'm trying to do is not manually edit info.p list. That's my goal here. Okay, so pod installation is complete. React Native vector icons shouldn't be here. I don't see it. Oh, fuck, it's there. God damn it. Okay. Well, how? Oh, that's not what I wanted. I don't know if anyone noticed, we changed the music today. We're listening to jazz instead of lo-fi because it felt more appropriate for morning. All right, command failed horribly again. I assumed the same thing. Yeah, so clearly it's doing it via... We ran Xcode build, but it ran... So it's, I mean, based on the message we saw also, is that it's still installing the vector icon pod package, and I don't know why. I don't know why. So... Installing dependencies, node watchman. So the easiest way to install Xcode is via the Mac App Store. Great. So command line tools, great. CocoaPods. creating a new application using a specific version or template, running React Native application, modifying your app. Now what? Let's look at like how do I native components and modules. Native modules setup. Okay. So native modules user distributed as npm packages, except that on top of the usual JavaScript, they will include some native code per platform. Great. So to set up the basic project structure for native module, we'll use a third-party tool, create React Native module. Okay, so I don't actually want to make one. I just want to make sure that I'm installing it correctly. Exporting constants. Can I like search link? Is that? Linking libraries. So not every app uses all the native capabilities, so there are a few steps. Automatic linking, install library with native dependencies. Again, you just save it. So you install it. Step 2, link your native dependencies. Done. If your iOS project, if your iOS project is using CocoaPods and a linked library has a pod spec file, then npx React Native Link will link the library using pod file. To support non-trivial pod files, use add new pods before this line, comment to places where you expect pods to be added. So that's where I'm confused. So if we go ahead and look at the pod file, right, like, where are we finding vector? Lazy vector is the only thing. This is why I'm confused. So I unlinked it from or I didn't unlink it. I removed it from the pod file, but it's still getting installed. And I think it's because it's looking through my node modules and finding things to install, right? Assets have been successfully linked. Okay, but that doesn't actually help me, right? Because I think that's the same thing that's happening. So it's still saying it's linked manually. Okay, so I just think that error is bullshit then. So if that's the case, then I have to do it. Okay, so I got added back into the pod file, actually. So now it's back for some reason. But it's still doing it twice. Oh, man. Let's try it again. Run yarn iOS. So it's still saying it's auto-linking. And I assume this is still the same error. Yeah, multiple commands produce it. Jesus Christ, dude. Okay, so what's changing in here, right? Like, it's adding the UI app fonts to my info.p list. Which, like, seems like it's probably fine. What else is changing? We're also editing project.pbxproj, and this is linking... I wonder if this is the issue? So here, this is what I'm gonna try and do. I wonder if this file is actually the issue. So I'm gonna, oh, not stage, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, how can I stash a specific file? I believe I can. We'll start our Genesis method to get these bots the fuck out of here. Yeah. Yeah, can I include just a specific path spec? Only for the files that match the path spec? Yeah, okay, so I can do git stash, push, and then iOS, it's not info.plist, it's like project, right? Oh, okay, it's in iOS, tabletop, xcode.proj, and then project.pbxproj. So, great, so that should stash that. Great, so those changes are still in my stash, so I can access them later. Let's try running the build again. And this may also just horribly fail as much as it did before. But it may not. Because here's the thing, right? The fonts being in the info.plist makes a lot of sense to me because that's what I was doing before. But this time it's just included all of the fonts instead of only the ones I manually wanted. And I'm, you know, knock on wood, but this looks like it's working. But I think what it was trying, what that other file was doing was basically saying, hey, this is where the resources are, but we don't have to worry about that because that's what it's doing with the pod file, right? The pod file is providing, or I don't know how CocoaPods works, to be very transparent, but that's what it was doing, right? Is that CocoaPods is already providing those assets. So the first step is to get the icons working again, and then we still need to, I'm still trying to get a new font here. That's like the whole fucking point of this also. Oh my god, I've already spent 45 minutes on this shit. This is the joy of coding though, you know? It's like very easy to be like, I know what I want to do today, and trust me, this is not it. This is not at all what I want to be doing. I'm becoming a designer now. It's not even on a good, right? I wish it was like, you know, if it was like 45 minutes on selecting fonts, like I'd be much happier about that. But this is just dumb. This is 45 minutes on me getting the fonts into my damn project. Which is incredibly frustrating. All right, the app is built. Let's see if the icons work. Unrecognized font family, that's fine. The icons work again, yay. All right, well, that's step one, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna commit all of this stuff. So also, I haven't tested the Android build. This could all be really bad. So let's go ahead and stage these changes. So let's go ahead and say link vector icons to Android build. This is gonna be, we're gonna have to do this all over again once we build Android, so great. And then within these three, so with these three things, we're gonna go ahead and stage these, and then hopefully we're gonna say correctly link vector icons to iOS project. When it works, neat. When it doesn't, 45 minutes updating and restarting to figure, oh, it isn't. Yeah. I guess that is not a unique problem then to React Native, so that's good. Okay, so we're in a working state now, which is good. New font type. So, let's go see what is happening with our... I pulled up this was our Medium article we were using last time. They're saying to use this into your package JSON and you run React Native link. Now, what we might have to do, actually, is if we run React Native link, what it's probably going to do again is it's probably going to put all that shit in the project file that we don't want. And I think what we're going to have to do actually is manually edit that. So here, this is going to be the fun part. So let's go see what was added to this shit. So first off, let's see, did young Serif get in here at all? It didn't even show up here. And I'll double check, you know, we'll just make sure it didn't get added in sort of like a weird way. So I made a resources file, whatever. Ant design. This is all icons. Okay, so this didn't work. So let's go follow their instructions more closely, because I don't think I followed them exactly, because I think they didn't work before. So they're saying add the following one to your package JSON, R npm. Oh wait, no, that's what I did. Right? R npm assets / assets fonts. Which is what I'm doing, right? To be clear. Assets fonts. Wait, why is there nothing there? Oh. Hello? Wait, what? Where did the font go? Oh, that's not what I want to put it. I want that reveal and finder. All right, we'll put our young serif regular in there. Great. Okay, so now let's try running React Native Link again. Hopefully it figured out that our font now exists. Let's go see what those changes look like. Let's again search for young serif. Pattern not found. And let's again spot check the changes that gotta happen. That got added. Excuse me. Now they're all using true type fonts. I want to make sure, I'm pretty sure I'm using a true type font. Yep. Young serif regular.ttf. Do I have to name it differently? Does that matter? Bit of an explanation. Moving unlinking. Okay, so let's go and look something else up to make sure that I remember seeing something about the naming and that perhaps being an issue. Elegant banner flowing in the background. Wait, what? Oh yeah, I have a wall flag, but my fan's on. That's why. I was like, wait, what? React Native add font. So this is a slightly different ones. They're adding fonts to assets. So this is what I was looking at here. So avoid conditional logic in your React Native styles. It's a good plan to rename a font if necessary to ensure it is read the same on both iOS and Android. For example, I'm using a font called vinchan.ttf. Yet when I open it up in fontbook.app, I can see that the font's full name is Vinkhand with a capital H. To ensure things run smoothly, I'm going to rename the font to be vinkhand.ttf, as Android will read from the file name, whilst iOS will read from the full name property. Oh. Okay, so that's fair. So let's go ahead and open Fontbook real quick and make sure that we're doing this. So young serif, how do I display that? Like, what is... I open it up in fontbook.app. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. There's no info here. Information, okay. Postscript name, full name is young serif. So I wonder if it's because it's young serif regular and not young serif, like, so let's go ahead and try and rename that. That seems like a easy enough thing to do. Great, so that's done. And then let's go ahead and run React Native Link one more time. Again, let's check our file for any changes. Pattern is still not found. What's going on, y'all? And I'm again just gonna spot check, but I am not hopeful. Okay, so why is that not working? I'm providing it an array. I was like hoping that that was what the issue was. Do I have to put an n slash here? Is that really what it is? Is that what the other article says too? Am I just really dumb? That one looked like it took slightly longer, question mark? Pattern not found, young Sarah. God damn it, dude. You can verify this by opening up info.plist from the iOS folder and looking for a UI app fonts key. You should see something to this. Yeah, so the problem is that it... What? I'm so confused. What's going on, Mr. Sojek? How often do you write code in your MacBook Pro 13 without using additional monitor? Actually, never. And the reason is because the backlight on my MacBook is not working. So the screen is totally fine, but there's no backlight at all. And I haven't gotten fixed because it's a board repair because the fuse is on the logic board. So if you go to Apple, they're like, we have to replace the entire fucking thing, which is like $700. And I just haven't gotten it. You can go to an unauthorized board repair shop, which is what I'm going to do eventually. So the answer is never because my screen doesn't work. So yeah. But also, yes, the 13-inch is small in terms of actual space. So like my work MacBook is, I have changed. I used to use the 13. I have a 15-inch now for my work MacBook, which I still mostly use this with an external monitor because I like using my keyboard and I like that better. But what am I trying to say? It is nicer to have the bigger screen. I kind of agree. What's going on, Dragon and the Wolves? Backlight should be easy enough to fix. See, I should look into that now. I actually just recently got a soldering iron, and from what I understand, I think that's SMD soldering, right? That is that. And I probably could. And it would save me a lot of money, to be honest, because even the unauthorized board repairs are like, it's gonna be like 400 buckaroos, which is a lot. But also, I'm conflicted, right? Because like the computer works well enough right now without it being a laptop, which is fine because like, also, you know, with current world situations, I'm not going anywhere to work on it. But like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, do I really risk it because it's fine right now? And I like have a laptop if I need a laptop. You know, it's just I couldn't work on like this, you know, project specifically. But also, can we talk about the fact that what is I think perhaps the most baffling to me is that seemingly they don't have an article on the React Native docs about adding new fonts. Like, that seems wild to me. Like, I don't think this is an unreasonable thing to do. And it seems very odd to me that there's no documentation for this. Unsort old backlight, resolder, or unsolder old backlight, resolder new wires, new backlight. Should take longer than 25 minutes to fix. Honestly, it's a small thing, special on Mac. They render easy and then all. Interesting. Okay, well, thank you. I'll take a look into that. I admittedly have not done a ton of soldering, so like I'm building a keyboard here soon. So hopefully after that I'll feel pretty good about it. But I'll look up some information on it. Yeah, and if it's not too bad, then yeah, maybe I'll just try it. It would be nice to have the laptop back. I would like to buy like a new MacBook eventually, but I don't really need one, and they're a lot of money, so eh. Okay, adding custom fonts in React Native 60. Great. I do want to do that. Follow the short tutorial to simply, like, why is this an issue on the GitHub profile? Like, why is this not in the documentation? Great. React Native CLI can be configured by creating a react-native config.js at the root of the project. Depending on the type of package, the set of valid properties is different. To add custom fonts, we only need to add one line of code. Assets, assets fonts. Great. Then add your fonts in the assets fonts and use like this. Just that simple. We don't have custom fonts to React Native app. If you like this article, don't forget to clap and share it. What a nice guy. For future visitors, run React Native link afterwards. Oh, is there just a package that does this? I used to use Mac, so kind of used to fixing Macs and iPads and iPhones. Yeah, gotcha. Gotcha, yeah. It feels like one of those things where, like, I know Apple's pretty notorious for, like, overcharging the shit out of everyone for their repairs, which I think is a reality of things. And don't get me wrong, I really like using Mac for development a lot. It's definitely my preferred OS, but I will say it's frustrating that it feels like it's necessary to have Apple Care to get anything done with any reasonable price. Because with the backlight thing, right, it's the perfect example. Like, they're trying to be like, we need to replace your entire logic board. And I'm like, look, motherfuckers, like, I know my CPU's on there. I know I don't think I have a built-in, I have 8 chips, I don't have a dedicated GPU. But, like, everything is on that thing, which is why it costs, like, $700 to replace it, because it's, like, the entire damn computer. But I'm like, there's only one part missing here, y'all. Like, there's only one part not working, you know? So, what's all in the repair series back work for MSI nowadays? Nice. Yeah, so Dylan, that's exactly what happened to me, right? So I had a year Apple Care on this laptop, and the backlight thing happened, I think 3 months after my Apple Care ran out. And now I'm like, all right, the next time I buy a Mac, I'm like buying like 3-year Apple Care or whatever. Yeah, I'm thankful that my iPhone has been working really well and has not gone out on me yet. But yeah, it's frustrating. I think it's the sort of reality of getting Apple devices, which is why, like, so after that went out, the laptop I bought, which it's shown over there, but I bought a ThinkPad. And the reason I bought a ThinkPad is because I was like, I just need to do pretty basic coding on this thing. And the beauty of the ThinkPad is that you can replace everything in that motherfucker. Like, I've already actually replaced, I bought the ThinkPad for pretty cheap. The display went out on my ThinkPad and I replaced it myself, and it was like really fucking easy. I bought a new display off eBay or some shit for like $30, and it took me like 15 minutes. And I think it took me longer actually because I was following incorrect instructions. I was following instructions for like a more complicated repair install, or like a part, repair. It was absurdly easy, and like you can buy parts for it still, and even though it's from 2012, it's still like pretty damn good. I've got like 12 gigs of RAM in it. It's great. But anyways. Okay, what does this do? React Native Link only supports font files. This tool supports all assets. Unlinking is automatic. Okay, and then you just run React Native. Does this work? Do people use this? I don't really want to try and do this, but not using Expo. So they're saying use the postscript name? Yes, please, for the love of God, put this in the documentation. Okay, they're going to the wrong location. I don't care about that. Yarn link? Is that that's the same command, right? Like, I'm nearly positive. Oh, that doesn't help me at all. But this doesn't do anything. I don't understand why. When you get blocked by a backup, by a clip out of solder on the main board, now if it dies on you again, you set the clip on and off to do. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's a really good tip, actually. Dang. Okay, so I'm gonna try using this config file because I'm putting in my package.json, which I would think would do the same thing, but maybe it doesn't. So I had this file up actually, but the one people are pasting is slightly different. So let's go and do this. So this is React need. Oh my god, I can't speak. Okay, we're gonna comment out this. Okay. Well, I should just delete it because I can't really comment it out easily. So it's not an src assets fonts, it's just assets fonts. Should be an A. Okay. Great. So with that in mind, let's run React Native Link. Okay. Oh, did that work? I see a young serif. Oh, okay. So now, the problem is here still is that it's still trying to link the vector icons. So the unfortunate reality of this is I have to delete everything else. And I'm hoping that me deleting all these lines is enough to not fuck with the vector icons. So basically, my vector icons are still being handled by my pod file, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. It makes the resources file. I'm okay with that. But this is the easiest way for me to get the font in there. Now, adding new fonts again is going to be awful because I'm going to have to do the same shit again. But it's something. It's really something. Okay. I should only have young serif now. Okay, I feel good about that. So now let's go ahead and let's close Metro Bundler. Let's go and run yarn iOS. Please, for the love of God, work, please. I want to be done with this and actually code things. And hopefully if this works, right, like we've got a process for adding new fonts. It's not a great process, admittedly. I think it's still pretty shitty, but it's a process. So I can still, usually it gets to here and fails, or around here and fails. So I'm just gonna cry, but if it doesn't. Some good jazz. We're jazzing. Okay. It worked? Question mark? We launched Metro Bundler, which I assume means the build succeeded. Oh, sweet Lord Jesus. Disconnected from the Metro server, reload to connect. Okay, that's fine. It had to reopen. Yes! Holy shit, we did it! God, that was awful. Oh my god, that was like the worst hour I've ever had. It's a new fucking font, and to be honest, it kind of looks bad, but... No, does it look bad now? Fuck, dude. God damn it. Why does it look bad? Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna commit this, though. Oh, sweet Lord Jesus. Okay. Sometimes the simpler code works better than the all complicated ones. Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, a lot of this is a black box that I don't have a lot of control of, which is the problem. Because I don't understand how it works. Okay, so add... Oh, and then also the React Native config, and then also that. Oh, sweet Lord Jesus. Okay. Great. Now we can actually code. Look, it's only been an hour, you know? Oh my lord. Alright, well, thank you everyone for your patience here. This has been ridiculous. Cool. So, yeah, so cool. So the other thing I'm going to test here is, so now we can actually like look at the design of things. So the other thing I need to test here is the longer name case. Wingspan's like a pretty short name in the general scheme of board games. So we're going to do a longer name. So I'm going to use Storybook to accomplish this because that's kind of the point. So what I'm going to do is make the ability to have multiple games. So we're going to do const games. It's going to be an array, and then I can just put some test data in here. Let's throw another one on here that's this. So this looks like the same, and it is. And then I'll keep the thumbnail URL the same for right now. Trailhead House on the Hill is like the longest reasonable name, and I've also played this game, so... I just recoded my mixed reality headset to work on all VR formats, so if I go to a high VR game, it will think it's a Hive headset. Oh, that's super cool, actually. Dang, yeah, that's really neat. Wow. That's really useful, yeah. I have admittedly not done anything with VR, but it looks super cool. It's just one of those things where it's like, I can't really justify the money, you know, on a headset. Like, is it cool? Absolutely. But like, I don't know, I don't really need to do it, you know. But that's super neat though, Dragon. That's awesome. Okay, so Board Game Beat, Betrayal. I'm just gonna grab the picture because I would like to see how it looks. It's also a different color, right? So like, dang, this game really come out in 2004 originally? It's wild. Oh, copy image location is what I want, actually. VR is something to help knowing coding and programming comes in handy as it opens up so you can go to all formats instead of being stuck on one. Yeah. I didn't realize it was so locked down. Like, I knew there were different headsets, but I didn't realize that it was so... They were so strict on, like, what headset you could use with what games. So yeah, that's really nice then. Okay, so I'm gonna actually remove games from the props here. And then we're gonna add props, and then here we're gonna add a game, which is gonna be equal to games at 0, and then you can do this. So instead of adding default, this is gonna be long name. Oh, I guess this can be longer game name, and then games at 1. Again, this is all test code, so like, it doesn't really matter that like this perhaps doesn't look like the prettiest thing ever. That's totally fine. So now in our navigator, we can go to longer game name, and we have this, and it looks bad, which is good. So I believe I mocked something up for this. Right. Oh, did I not keep that? I definitely put... I feel like I definitely figured out how to do this before. Yo, what's going on, Dylan? It says my setup with the exclusive games Spiceable fan of VR. Nice. Yeah, that's sick. That's super cool. That feels like something you could, like, you know, put on GitHub or something, and then other people, I don't know if that's already a thing, but might really use. Okay, so how do we fix this? So we need to either put the stars at, like, the end of the name. We could put it below it. We also probably want to make the font size slightly smaller, right? Like, so let's go to the actual postcode and, oh, yeah, so we could do ellipsis. Yeah, I guess some game names are, like, really fucking long, right? So, like, maybe... So that's better, but it's still overlapping with the picture? Why is that, actually? Yeah, so, like, some of them that I think are really ridiculous is there's some, like, war games that have, like, the craziest shit ever. Like, maybe I just ellipsis it, to be honest. I'm trying to think of, like, it's, like, war games. So, like, war games are insane. I don't know if... I haven't actually played one yet, but, like... Here, let me... So I can just go into the war game category. Like, look at this shit. Almost a Miracle, the Revolutionary War in the North. Like, they all have, like, titles, and then it's, like, a subtitle. So, like, these are, like... I feel like these are notoriously pretty long. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to, like... I know that one's not technical, but, like, look. A 16th century Mediterranean galley war game from 1978. It's huge. That's a gigantic title, man. Like, what am I gonna do with that? And I'm sure there are other long ones that are not that, right? Like, so... Okay, anyways. Is it, all that is to say that, yeah, ellipsis might be the right call here. Oh, what's going on, Matt? How's it going, dude? I think stars in top right, but it seems like you have icons in there for the mock-up. Yeah, so the current plan is right now is that top right is going to be the players that are linked on your post. So if you tag people, then that's what they're going to be there for. So I think, like, putting it below, actually, like, I think this is what I did last time. I should have made two separate components, and I totally didn't. I'm sure I could, like, undo far enough. I think I did this, and I think this looks pretty good, to be honest. A character with a handle name and a full name. Ooh, so that's interesting. The only problem is that the way I'm getting the data, I don't know if Board Geek has that. I think I can just, like, basically give it a max width. I think it should be fine. Just because there are, like, an absurd amount of board games, and it's kind of hard to generate my own data for all of them. Now, that's a separate thing, but there is a good chance that I may need to start some way of getting basically a free and open source and very permissive database of board games. Because right now, Board Geek's API is, like, pretty good, but the problem is that it doesn't allow you to do it for commercial use, and, like, we're hinging on that. So we're not commercial right now, but, you know, eventually I would like to attempt to make money off this. So I'm keeping that in the back of my mind. It's a problem I haven't solved yet. So I think ellipsis would be fine, so you don't have to handle those kind of two names anyways. Yeah. So there are some things in code that we can do to make this pretty easy, I think. So we're going to have to vary the font size a little bit, I think. I believe we will have to do that. So 24 is what I had it on before, which I think looks really good for like Wingspan and stuff, but for these longer names, it's going to be pretty bad. So I think what we're going to need to do is do some basically variable stuff here. So this is the beauty of, doing React, is that we can do this. So, so const game styles. And then can I make, it's going to be style prop text style, right? I think. Yeah. Cool, so that should give us something. So let's go ahead and copy that over from the component right now. The font weight bold, actually, I don't think matters, right? Because it's all just regular. I'm not using styled components. I never have before. I've heard good things, but yeah, I've never tried it, so. Okay, so the default font size is 24. So basically, if our game.name, why is this not? Oh, can I make this game? Is that gonna yell at me? Am I gonna have issues with my stories? Yeah, I am, but that's fine. So, I'll fix that later. So if game.name .length is longer than, let's say, I should also make this a constant because it might change. So like, let's say it's just 24 right now, like 24 characters. I don't know if that's accurate. How many is this? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Let's say 24 for now. So if the game name is greater than 24, then we need to concat it. 18 to 20. Yeah, that's true. I mean, so I'm just gonna write the logic. I can change the number fairly easily. I should also, this should be the constant, you dummy. Yeah. So if the length is greater than that, then we need to, oh, this should also be a let, not a const. Yo.
Yes, my favorite board game, Battle of the World of the East versus the World of the West. Clash of Cultures Revolution, Inception of Gunpowder Era.
Thanks for the 21-month resub, Matt. I appreciate it, dude. That's fucking funny. Oh my god. And if that's your favorite board game, we're gonna accommodate it looking less like shit on this app. So that's my promise to you. But thank you again for the support. I really do appreciate it. All right, so then game name should be equal to, I think we can just substring it. Wait, hold on. What's the difference between substring and str? Bunk? Okay, I'm not gonna worry about that. Weird though. All right, so from 0 length, max title length, and then plus ... and then also game styles dot font size is gonna get a little smaller. We'll make it 18. Cool, so then I need to actually use that, so. So this should be game style. It's actually a terrible name for it. I'll rename that. And then this should use our new game name variable. Cool, so let's see how that looks. So we ellipsized it. Nice. Yeah, and the art's there too, so like I think that's fine, you know. Great. Wait, what do you mean I don't have to spread it? It's a single style. It's not actually a new style sheet, right? Which is probably why. But again, like, that's a really bad name. I probably should make it a style sheet, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's just an object. I'm doing it more like actual React than I am, you know? Okay, so that takes care of that. So then we also need to do some layout changes here. So what we'll need to change specifically is that this actually should turn back on a column, I think. Right, because it's the view and the star rating. Yeah, so why is that offset, though? So this is in a flex direction row with what? Why is this set? This shouldn't be set, right? That matters? I don't know why that matters. My favorite board game, Lorem Ipsum. Nice. I don't know why that's set. I'll be honest with you. Like, I have absolutely zero clue as to why that matters. Because there's only one child of that view. I'm gonna leave it there, but I don't know why it's there. Okay, I'm actually baffled as to why that's there. It's fine, it's fine. What? Okay, but why is this offset, right? Oh, it's because it's aligning self, actually. That's why. Yeah. It's because it's doing align self center. Okay, that makes total sense. What are my options here? We flex start, right? Great. Yo, what's going on, Sarah? That's my favorite place to Lorem Ipsum something Doloremet. It's really good. Shout out to Lorem Ipsum. It's such a small thing, but such a useful invention to have around, truly. Sometimes it depends on using Chrome's inspector tool to add a lot of quick CSS. Oh, dude, I fucking agree. I use that shit all the time. It's actually been one of my biggest struggles in React Native is that I can't just tweak CSS, small CSS things in the inspector. And it's like really annoying for me to figure out why things are broken. Like, I also realize how much I truly do use Chrome and Firefox DevTools a lot. They're very, very useful. All right, that looks better. I wish there was a little more like top padding there. I guess I can add that, right? Or I'd say top padding. I meant like margin, but you know what I mean. So that looks pretty good. I think it looks closer to like what we had here. And I think that, yeah, that looks decent. And like, yeah, you can, so there's gonna be, you're gonna be able to click on it, right, and see, you know. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I am not able to use format on save at work yet, just because we haven't, you know, done the whole thing where we like run prettier on our entire code base. I'm using it for new files, but soon I will be able to enable format on save everywhere. It's so good. I recently did a small amount of code in Go, and Go has a similar thing with Go format, and it just formats on save, and oh, God, every language. I'm not opinionated enough on formatting to where I just wish every fucking language had format on save. I don't even want to think about it. Format everything for me, please. Do it all. It's so nice. It's like one of my favorite things. I've been, you know, converted on that very recently. Okay, so are we good here? So, okay, I need to make these variable, right? So, we also need to, we need to pop this out into its own variable. Then, Oh, whoops, I double put braces there. And then I actually don't know what the container style takes, the style prop view style. That makes sense. And then that should be in here, which is rating container style. And so we actually wanted to do, we basically wanted to have, the defaults should be if we don't concatenate it. So align self is, should be center. This shouldn't be here, but then. Oh, that's a comma. I need to not have that, thanks. Okay, font size is 18, margin top is 5, and then also rating container style, align self should be flex start. Right? Man, when you're changing old code and you make a commit most of the changes to the formatted ones. See, yeah, that's the reason we don't do it right now, is because basically when we want it to be easier for code reviews, so if I was running enable prettier, it'd be really hard to detect what my actual changes were, which is why we're just going to do it in like one huge commit. But it's just like, you know, it's one of those things that it's like not really a huge deal that it's not done. Once I'm like done with my current project list, I'll probably just do it because I'm the person who enjoys doing that sort of thing. So, but yeah, that's the reason why we like don't just use it right now. But I'm going to be so excited to be able to just enable that, and it's going to be so nice. So nice. Do I want to put a space here, actually? I wonder if that looks better. Like, it looks kind of close there, but I don't really know if it's a big deal. The other thing I wanted to try, actually, was making this not bold. It's not great. It's fine. That's the only part of the design I'm not a huge fan of, and there's, like, some line height issues there, but... Okay, so if this is all good, then let's go ahead and preview our default. It's the column layout. This, oh god, this needs its own variable. This is also going to be a view style. So this should be row by default, and then oh, I need to put it down there. Okay, I was like, what? Should be title, container styles, what I called this. I like Bode for titles. Yeah, I was just wondering, like, you know, it's hard to... There are two focal points to the thing, right? It's like the username is one, and then the name of the game is the other. Speaking of which, there really needs to be more padding between that. There's truly not enough. Stop it, cat. Leave me alone. Profile picture URL. Okay, this, I want this value to increase. I was like, I need to make sure I do the right padding button. Is that too much? That looks better. Okay, and then probably a little more beneath wingspan. My cat is really trying to break in right now. Great. So a little more room to breathe there. Cool. And then let's go to the longer game name. Yeah, so Storybook is making this really easy, actually. I really like this. That looks good. So that's ellipsed. That's down. Yeah, you could even stand to make the font size a little bit bigger still, to be honest. Like, I think we still have room. What do I have it at? 18? I could bump it up to 20. I think it could stand to be a little bigger. Yeah. I find the default, the icon is leveled with the title. Oh, yes, that's actually something I think I want to change. Yeah, it's not quite level with the title, but it's better. I agree. So the picture should get bumped up a little bit. Can I just bullshit it? I just have to decrease this value, right? Oh, sorry, increase that value. Hang on, really? Oh, jeez. Wrong key. Yeah, it looks a little awkward, I think, because it's like the thing is getting really tall now. But like, I think that's fine. Yeah, I'm bad at this kind of stuff, so you know, but I think it's fine, right? Like, it's mostly like, in fact, I actually won't even change that right now. We'll just leave that at 30 for right now. I'll make a note of that. I do want to get things functionally working, you know, also, so obviously I could spend a lot of time obsessing over the UI, and even though I'm bad at UI design, I still, the bad part is that I'm still very perfectionist about it, so like, it's just gonna fucking bug me that it looks bad, but I don't know how to fix it, is really the issue. So, I don't want to spend too much time on it. I want to get everything working. Okay, so yeah, I think this is good. So let's go ahead and actually add these. So initial post design, or add initial posts component, I guess. Oh, I shouldn't have committed index there actually, but it's fine. It doesn't really matter. I have index like commented out to use Storybook instead of actually rendering the app, but I mean, that's not really a big deal. All right, so next let's go ahead and get started on tagged users. So that is what I want to get started on. Cool, so we have the text for the users, which is not actually what we want here. What we're going to want, and we want to make sure I actually have those, is the tagged users. They don't have usernames. I want them to have profile pictures. So let's go ahead and add that. And bop, bop. See, and format on save is really nice for this sort of things. And I just, you know, I don't have to worry about it. Story with ID post default already. What? I don't know why that's yelling at me. Anyways, also, why did I do this margin top, right? Like, I didn't actually need to do this, right? Like, I just do... It's justify content center not do it? Am I dumb? Center should affect the other way on the flex column. Yeah, so that's not actually what I want. This really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I just looked at that and it was bothering me. I think it's because I don't have a flex property on this, though. That's why that's happening. Oof. That's an extra L. Oh, never mind. I'm not even gonna fuck with it. It's not worth it. I had a viewing fine. This is all for viewing. Ah. Okay. What's going on, Mr. Jew? This is not Android Studio. We're using React Native, so the IDE I'm using right now is Visual Studio Code, but we're writing code in JavaScript, and it, in theory, should compile on both iOS and Android. So we have not done Android stuff yet at all. This is purely an iOS just because I have an iPhone, so if we want to test on something, we're going to test it on this before an Android phone, so yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the reality is, right, is that this isn't the actual app. This is just like a display thing, so the fact that I'm wasting time on it is insane. Okay, so we added profile pictures to the users, which is what I wanted to do. So now let's go back to the tags users map. So instead of this should be an image, and then the source. They actually write out source. It should be URI, and then it should be user dot profile picture URL. And then we get rid of this. Oh, the images have to have height. I was like, what? I spelled style wrong. So this should be width 40, height 40. Oh, and then also border radius 25. This I really should combine into, I'm gonna make a note of that. Oh, I can't really, but I need to combine those into like a common image style. Yeah, React Native's it's a pretty cool piece of technology if you've not seen it before, and it helps because the reason we're using it is primarily because I am a React developer professionally for the most part. So I already know React, so the learning curve is pretty low compared to me having to learn 2 new languages with both, you know, like Swift and or Java or Kotlin, and learning how those work. And I can mostly just write code once and have it show up on both platforms very similarly. So it's pretty nice. Border radius is 25. Great. So this should be in its own separate view. I know these are getting flexed individually right now, which I actually don't want. And then in this view, things are still going to need to be a flex direction is still going to be row rather, not column. And then we need to justify this should be. So justify content is for everything, right? So that would have to be space between, I think is what we want. But then we'd want the other things. We'd want so like this section to be grouped together. So this is also going to have flex direction row. And then let's go ahead and put this around. This should go all the way to the date. Oh, and then in here I need to align items center. Okay. It's not related to the stream, but I thought everyone would like to know that the new hire paperwork for my job explicitly stated that MySpace is an improper use of work email / computers. That's good to know. They're being explicit now. MySpace, the very important social media now. It must have been a huge issue, right? As to when if it got written into the new hire paperwork, right? Like, it must have been a big problem back in the day. They don't mention anything else. Amazing. Are you at a new job now, Will, or is that for your existing one? Great, so this does exactly what I wanted to do. The username stuff is still over here, grouped together, still centered, and then these are our tagged users. So, oh, the one I started 2 months ago. Oh, nice, I did not know you started one relatively recently. That's exciting. Okay, so in terms of designs for the tagged user stuff, what I like sort of this. Oh god. So these are like two random pictures I got. So that's the guy who plays Kylo Ren, but I don't remember his name. Adam Driver, right? I think. I'm also admittedly not super sold on this icon. I don't really know if I want this for sure. But I like this sort of overlapping circles thing. And basically my thought is here is that if you have another circle, right? I don't know how far they overlap. Then here, if we get rid of the image, it's a Command Shift K. No, that's add an image. It's plugin. Run Blast plugin is Option Command P. Option Command P. Oh, I used Iconify last. Oh, okay. So I have a plugin for avatars that I thought just makes me an avatar. I don't remember how it works now. Okay, it just makes me an avatar. We're just grabbing celeb images, you know. This is 31 by 31. Obviously, it's not the size that they are in the app. But anyways, so is that even? No, that looks slightly odd. Anyways, so the hope is basically that you can have the icons of the people that played with you. Now, I'm wondering if it's... there's a limit, I think, as to how many we can fit over here. So I think at a certain point, you basically say... so let's say like 3 is probably the limit, I think. Especially if I have an icon, then like... Oh, god damn it. I hate that the icon is in like its own frame, which makes selecting things... Which makes selecting it in a group very annoying. So it's basically like you have 3, right? And then the next thing is this sort of gray circle that we throw, and this one should be above all of these. Great. So this one is like over here, and then basically it's like you display 3, and then on here you have text that says it'll be like plus however many. Right. So this is the general design I'm thinking, is something like this. And then when you like tap on the post to look at like a more detailed view, which I have not thought about that at all, really, that'll show all of them, presumably. Or something, or you press the +2 and it pops up like a little modal at the bottom showing all the tagged users. I think that's similar. That's pretty akin, I think, to how Instagram does it, which seems fine. Yeah, I think that's probably all right. So we just need to do the circle overlapping, and then we just need to say basically if there's more than 5, then we're going to display the first 3, and then for the rest of them, we're just going to put the number with the difference, which is, I think, going to be pretty simple to do. So the first is the Jesus Christ, why can't I think of things? Circle overlapping, that's what I want. So it should just be like negative margin left, I think, does this. So this is the author, so for each tagged user. So I think basically if, so margin left, so if I is equal to 0, which, so if it's the first one, then we're gonna make it 0, but if not, then we should make it like, let's say like negative 20, right? Is -20 just too much? So like a slight overlap, and this is hard to tell because this is just in general kind of small. That's slightly bigger. Okay. That looks decent, I think. We should make them have different pictures because that part is not great right now. Is there a website that does what our Figma plugin does? Am I not searching things correctly? What do I want? Placeholder image generators. Yes, thank you. Oh my god, it's just Bill Murray. That's pretty funny. Oh, is this just Bill? Oh my god. It's fucking Nick Cage. Are you kidding me? Holy shit. That's incredible, dude. I'm absolutely gonna do this. Okay, so let's go to our stories. Let's go to the tagged users. All the profile pictures should just be this. Wow, this is the best thing I've ever done. Thank you to whoever made this website. Holy shit. Is this half custom made for me? Absolutely. I'm just a little sad I'm not doing this with my Nicolas Cage mug right now. Maybe I should go get a second cup of coffee. Place kitten? Is that just kittens as placeholder images? Because that's also good. Oh yeah, placeholder kit images. Oh, great. That's like the same thing. Nice. That's pretty good. A nice cage app, a nap, if you will. Oh my lord. See, well, we should go in together. We can make a Jeff Bridges placeholder image generator. I feel like that would also be very on brand. Oh no, does it just do the same one every time? Does it really just do the same one every time? Oh, that's so sad. Oh, that's a bummer. I thought it was like, you know. Well, fuck. Alright, well. Goddamn, dude. Alright, I guess I should make these 100, right? Like, high DPI. I don't know how high DPI works. I think the image has to be bigger than the actual size, though, but it doesn't really matter. Daybirds is all the way. PlaceDude.com. Just images of white Russians. Oh, there we go. Okay, did some random ones. All right, cool. So now we have Nick Cage. We're playing board games with Nick Cage, as one does. I, again, don't know why it's telling me about the story thing. I only have one default. Dope. That looks pretty good. Oh, there should be a comma there. So, ideally, also, oh god. It doesn't matter that the usernames are all the same, to be honest. Oh my god, why are they... I guess the requests all get made at the same time, right? So it's just like... Oh, this one also has... Oh, see, this is the same guy who also did Phil Murray. You know, so let's vary it up, you know. This is a very efficient use of our time, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. Is there anyone had any doubts as to what is an efficient use of our time? This is it. Please, Gopnik, a bunch of squatting Russians. Oh my lord. Will, have you seen Community? Because there's a beautiful thing in Community where they're like, what class are we gonna take? And they go take is Nicolas Cage, like, Nicolas Cage good or bad actor? And one of the characters in Community is like super obsessed with films, and he like basically turns himself insane because he like has to find the objective answer whether or not Nicolas Cage is actually a good or a bad actor. And so he just spends like 48 hours and like watches like every Nicolas Cage movie. That's really good. Alright, well, I hate that they're all the same, but it's fine. Anyways, so what did we decide? So if there's more than 3, then we're gonna shorten it down. Although, like, this doesn't look the worst. Yeah, it's I think it's in season 5. I don't remember what episode that was, but it was really fucking funny. Yeah, it's like Abed basically goes insane trying to find the objective answer whether or not Nicolas Cage is a good or a bad actor. So we're gonna make a function to generate those, I think. Let's do array of any right now. That should be it. And then also can I not return JSX element, or are you yelling at me? Oh, it's because I haven't returned anything. So if users.length is greater than 3, then we need to basically just render the first 3, and then for the 4th one, this is just determining the loop, and then we should do for a classic for loop, which I don't write very often, to be honest. See, I don't know if I've seen that one. So the problem is that Nikki started watching it, and she watches TV more than I do. So like, I like miss some of the episodes. Like I just can't sit down and watch TV for that long. So like, I need to go through and do a full rewatch by myself also to like try and get all of them. So, but I'm currently trying to watch anime again, and so that's taking my time, and yeah, whatever. I just don't watch that much TV. It's the problem. So, and I have a lot of shows I want to watch. I just can't get through them all. That's the problem. All right, so for our photos to generate, then we're just gonna go ahead and do our okay, so for this for loop, we need to basically just do photo elements that push. There's probably a more elegant way to do this too, but I think this is fine. So this should just be an image with a key of I. I can just copy all this. Oh. Oh, the first thing didn't get included. I was like, what is going on here? Yo, Helpful Puffin, what's going on? Thank you so much for the follow. Hope you are doing well. So users at their profile picture. Oh god, I can't type. Okay, so I think that should work. And then we're checking the length twice, which seems kind of bad, but whatever, it's fine. Feels bad. Is it bad? No, it's probably fine. So basically, if there's that extra one, we need to do the extra, which is photo elements dot push, which is going to be a it's not really gonna be an image, right? It's gonna be a view, and it's gonna be plus, and then this number is going to be photo elements dot length, or not photo elements, users dot length minus photos to generate, which is also just 3. And then this should have, we need to set up some styles here. Oh, this is going to need to be in text also. Caught myself now. Doing great, thanks. Awesome, good to hear. Good to hear. This goes for anyone. I forget to mention this. If anyone has any questions about like the project or anything in general, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so height should be, is it 40, right? Yeah. With this 40, border radius 25. Oh, and then it should also have the same margin as margin left thing, pretty sure. It's actually slightly different because we don't need this turn area because it's always going to be great. So now it's actually called this function. This is in it's tagged users map, which we don't want. We instead want generate tagged users. Great. Okay, that didn't quite work. What do I need to do here? So it needs to have a background of like that. Did I have it as like a gray one? Because that's what I wanted. I don't remember what color gray this is. That looks fine, I think. Is the content tag slash post you're working on going to be in like a list with the screen be filled and scrollable in the future? Yes. So these are the components that are going to show up in your feed, which is like, you know, basically the people you're following on the app. Yes. So these aren't going to be the full ones. The only thing I've left to add after this basically is like some sort of like and comment. Like I haven't really thought through 100% how we're doing interactions, but I'm going to put the buttons there and they're just not going to do anything right now. But yeah, the idea basically is that you'll be able to hopefully tap on this and it'll like take you to or you'll be able to expand, you'll be able to access like a more detailed post view, I think. Okay, so the background color is there, so now we just need to center the text, which should be justify content center, and then also align items center. And so some of these things that I'm making right now aren't buttons right now, but they will be. We also are going to want probably style font weight to be bold here. Great, that looks pretty good. Cool, so now we have tagged users. So ideally you're gonna be able to click on each of these. I guess I should just add that now, right? Like this should be, instead of an image, it's a touchable opacity. So then that should be wrapped in that, and then hopefully that doesn't... oh, that fucks it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to need to have the margin left thing should be on the touchable opacity now. Really does not paste where I want it to. Perhaps I just need to make all of the... Perhaps I just put these... Well, I need to copy these, right? So the images have to have width and height. But the width and height should also be present on the... on this. Right. I actually think it's more of the border radius that's causing this issue. Is it Inasia? Inasia? I probably butchered your name, and I apologize. Thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. Feel free to ask any questions if you have. Did that work? Oh, no, why didn't that work? Yeah, so that's not going to overlap. So I need them to overlap, but I don't know. I don't know why the margin overlap is not working. Yeah, so what's happening here? So it's moving over, but the index of the previous one is like causing an issue? I don't think it's a z-index issue. I don't know why this is happening, I'll be honest with you. Why is the touchable opacity really, like, fucking with the styling? Let's go look at the docs for it, in case there's, like, something that I'm missing here. Oh, I did not mean to do that at all. Opacity is controlled by wrapping the children animated view, which is added to the view hierarchy. Be aware that this can affect layout. Yeah, I am aware this affects layout. TV parallax has next focus forward. Can I do overlapping images, React Native? I think generally the approach I'm taking is fine. Translate Y. I'm just using negative margin, right? Like, are they doing something that's fancier? What are they doing here? They're just using left and top. Oh, can I do that? Whenever you want to override any React component, simply put that component in between start and close another component. Oh, I don't want to do that though. That seems... Oh, they don't have the screenshot anymore. They're just saying position absolute. I don't want to do that though. Like, this works fine. I just don't know what's changing between this and the... Like, what? Here, let me... Well, okay. So let's think about this. So this makes sense, right? So I think the reason why this doesn't work with touchable opacity is because it has to know, what we're pressing, right? So that's sort of the problem here, is that this is its full size, but it shouldn't be actually. It should be slightly smaller. The problem is I don't know how to create that overlap effect with the touchable opacities. So that's not great. So you could do... Is there like an overflow thing? It's probably hidden by default. Maybe we just set it to visible? I don't think that works though. Yeah, I just don't think it's gonna work because I think it needs to... I mean, unless it's like the fact that I don't have a key on here, but that seems... Oh. That seems unlikely. Yeah, I just don't think it's gonna work. That's kind of a bummer. I mean, that's fine, right? Like, that's like a minor style thing, like... I think it looks actively worse. But I don't know how to do that. Figure out how to overlap. Yeah, that's a bummer. So on press, these aren't going to do anything. I'll write a fake on press here. The basic gist is that oh, is it void? Oh, it's because I'm writing the return statement. Oh, so to do clicking or tapping on an icon of a user should navigate to their profile. But we don't have profiles yet, so that won't work. And then this also should be a touchable opacity. So I actually should just be able to, I think, wrap this in a touchable opacity. I don't remember if text can nest under that. Okay, I think that worked. Yeah, okay, that's fine. It's basically just a view, so that's fine. And then same deal here on press, not actually a real function yet. And then to do tapping here should open a modal with all tagged users. So that's another thing to design. But yeah, again, like I'm nearly positive Instagram does this. Okay, this isn't the same, but like, so here, let me. So on, you can click view products. This is like a similar thing where you click the thing and it brings up this modal below that provides more information. So this is products and not users, but I think tagged users works the exact same. So that's the sort of thing we want there. But we want that. We want to add that now. So the only other thing is that if it doesn't have our profile picture, it should return a. That's the only other case, I guess, is that if it doesn't have a profile picture, it should return like a placeholder. I don't think I should handle that here, though. I think that should be handled at wherever we're getting the users at. So basically, whenever we have a user object, we should always assume that the profile picture is good to go, that it's there and it's ready. So yeah, let's add that in a second. So I'm gonna go ahead and commit this stuff real quick. I guess the only question is like, is this clear enough that those are tagged users? Like maybe we should put something else that indicates that, but. All right, so I've got 8 things to push up there. Great. I need to restart VS Code for a new update. I'm probably gonna go take a bathroom break real quick just because it's been 2 hours and I haven't peed or anything. And also, I'm intermittent fasting and it's 12, which means I can eat. So maybe I'll grab a quick something to snack on. So I'll be back in probably like 5 minutes. Thanks everyone for hanging out. If you haven't already, please consider dropping a follow for the channel. You'll get notified whenever we go live. And if, as always, if you have any questions about the project or anything that we're working on, please feel free to drop those in chat. And yeah, I'll get to those when I get back. So yeah, thanks for everyone for sticking around, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Alrighty. Alright. I'm back. I have food now. Yay. What up, Cochin? GM, friend. GM. I have cinnamon rolls. Eat. It's my breakfast at noon. So I'm gonna eat these real quick. Because I'm really hungry. Oh! Alright. What are we doing now? Are we actually throwing this thing in the ringer? I think there are some other issues we have to work out, but... I don't know if there's an easy way to tell it whether or not I want Storybook. Oh my god, that voice crack. Whether I want Storybook or whether or not I want my actual app. Oh god, what happened? Element type is invalid. The expected a string for built-in components or class. What? wait, what was this before? I changed this recently, right? Oh, I can't type. Oh, it should just be app, not the actual JSX app. That's fine. That's fine. Oh, we don't need React here. Great, okay. So, the only thing we don't, there's a few things we don't have here actually. So the first is we need to go on the server and handle some stuff. We're not including date with posts. Which, so smart. Now I want to check, I don't remember GraphQL types. I don't remember if there's a date type on GraphQL. I don't think so, and I probably just want it to be a string. Okay. I think an integer timestamp is fine, so. I don't know how serialization and deserialization works though, to be honest. This query is valid, okay. I don't necessarily care about this. Okay, so integer is fine. So date is int. Now I should have actual. I have actual TypeScript types. How am I doing that? Actual server code. So let's go to our posts. So our posts should all get a date field, which I'm going to put a 0 right now, but it's not going to. Oh god. Ugh. Oh god, what did I do? Oh, to be honest, actually, we can start deleting these test posts now. Because we have post creation working, the feed actually probably should be empty by default. And then what we're going to need to do, so we've added date there. So we need to make sure when we're creating a post, the date is the thing. I'm turning to this one here. Give me a second. Let me eat this. To create post input should have date, which is an int, which is required. Oh, sorry, I'm like trying to script on this food as fast as possible. I'm really hungry, so. I haven't eaten since 8 p.m. last night, so. Alright, go. Okay, so. Oh, I forgot my water. Ah, fuck. Okay, whatever. I'll go get it later. Oh, and I didn't go grab more coffee. Ugh. Look at me, so unprepared. So I can just put the post info date. Alright, so that should allow dates to work in the server. Let's rebuild the server to make sure that works. Okay, that worked. I'm actually gonna go order my coffee real quick, so I'll be right back. Sorry. All right, post is away. Post what you're most thankful for this spring. Oh no. Chat too wholesome. All right, we have more coffee. Yay. Oh God, sorry, chewing too loud. All right, okay, so I think the server is equipped to receive date things. There are no check-ins by default. I should probably handle that case. So if data.post.length is greater than 0, we should do this. I spelled length wrong. But if not, then go and return text. Nice. Gonna add some style here. So line self is gonna be center. Font size. It's a bit bigger. Let's do 16. I don't need a font weight. This is probably fine. Oh, I guess I care more about it. Should be. Can I do a BR? I kind of doubt it. Yeah. I didn't think so, but anyways. Okay, so this really doesn't matter that much. I can make that look better at a later date. So the more important part is that when I'm making a new check-in, which, oh, that's not what I wanted. when we're doing a check-in, is it this one? I have too many versions of Tabletop now. Oh. I don't know what that means. All right, check in, create post. So use mutation, create post, post info, and then we also need the date back now here. And then also when we get post, we're gonna need to grab that. So let's make sure, where is create post getting called? It's getting called here, so variable, and then the date should be, date is date now, which gives us, I believe, the epoch timestamp, which is what I want. And then that should send that off with that. And then for the feed, there should be get posts. We'll also need to get the date. Okay, so I think that's everything. So let's, oh, that's what I wanted. Check-in form, test post, unhandled promise rejection, response that's successful, status code received, status code 400. Why is that? So let's check out our Metro bundler, and it should error. Here we go, yeah. Variable post got invalid value, whatever at post.date. Expected type int cannot represent non-32-bit signed integer value. Location object path undefined. Wait, what? How do I tell how large a number is? Is it signed or unsigned? It's signed. Oh my god. Wait, does my text-to-speech not work for bits? No! Brady, I'm sorry. Thank you for the 100 bits. That would have been beautiful. What? I truly thought my text-to-speech works for bits. This is really depressing. I wanted to hear that. Fuck. Here, hold on. I'm gonna go look now. What vegetables most likely to rise to power and enslave the human race, and why? Potato. Oh god. Here, give me a second. That sounds like such a good pasta. Okay, bits alerts enabled. Oh yeah, text-to-speech is. I'll put the minimum on that because. Save settings. Recent events. Here, let me try again. Wait, did it not work? I just turned it on! You fuckers. Bits, text-to-speech. Minimum bits to read. Oh, you can do voices? Oh, neat. Trying again.
What vegetable is most likely to rise to power and enslave the human race?
Oh my
and
God.
why potato? Let explain why. Potato do no care too hot. Potato do no care too cold. Potato no get much water. Potato no need much water. Potato get need water. It's time for big potato. Potato do no have need of anything no even gravity. In space scientists of Russia have roe potato. They eat the space potato, it tastes like ground potato. Potatoes survive anywhere. Potatoes survive everywhere. Hey guys, 100.
Oh my lord, that's incredible. Oh my god, thank you good for the 100 bits, Brady. And Anna, it's okay. That's insane. I love that so much. Why do you have to listen to it every day? Oh my goodness. And is that Tushar? Welcome. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Oh my god, that's too funny. Oh man. Alright, so now we're trying to figure out why this is yelling at me. It's just too many digits. Oh, this is the strangest limitation, dude. Okay, how do I make my new... Oh, GraphQL ISO date? Oh! Yeah. GraphQL ISO date exposes 3 different date/time scalars that we use a combination of GraphQL.js. Let's build a simple scheme using the scalars included in this library and execute a query. Oh, this is not what I'm doing though. What did you come back to? Nothing good, man. Nothing good. GraphQL timestamp.js. My timestamp type is derived from his. Okay. Serialized date, parse date. Oh, it gives us date objects back? Oh. I don't really want that though, right? This seems all very complicated. Like I literally just like, I can just make it a string, right? And that's fine, I think. It seems like it handles it better though. Maybe I should use this. Yeah, because I don't want a time string. I actually, this seems like it's too much, right? Like, I literally just want a timestamp. How do I make my own scalar? Maybe I should worry about this later. Like, maybe I should just make a note of this, right? So, like, maybe... Well, okay, I don't know about that, though, actually. Like, okay, so GraphQL... custom scalars. Again, what they're doing is like pretty fancy, whereas all I want to do is like literally just store the timestamp. You need to support custom atomic data types, e.g. date, when a version existing to have the dust validation. Oh, that's right. So Dark Reader bonks this site, so I need to not use it. So the first, you need to add to the schema string with the following notation. So let's go ahead and do that. So our schemas and our server, and this is our type defs. So we want scalar timestamp. Great. Yeah, and I don't want serialization or anything either. So, okay, type JSON package, so scalar JSON. Then we need to just resolve. make executable schema. Is that what I want? That's not how I'm doing things, right? New Apollo server, type defs, resolvers. So it's just a resolver then? So, oh, that's not what I wanted. What do I have to return for the timestamp? Like, what's the resolver I have to write here? Resolve functions for this GraphQL JSON. Oh, this is like a function. I literally just wanted to return the thing. Like, I don't want this to do anything different. It just won't let me input, you know, greater than 32-bit numbers. Which I guess perhaps that's just an argument why I should just be doing it as a string anyways, because it's easier to store that. Maybe I should just do that. That's easier. I can really switch it if it becomes an issue, but maybe it won't, you know? All right, so everywhere we have date and it's typed, we need to just change this to a string. Is that everywhere? This should be a string. Okay, then on check-in when we're making it, we're just giving it a date, but that should be equal to not date now, but date now to string. Okay. Hi, Anna. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. We're trying. Wait, what is resolver ocelot? What? Oh, I'm storing the rating as a string too, so, okay. And then whenever we're getting the date and I'm putting it into... Yo, is that Mishka? Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Oh, resolver ocelot. Nice. I have never played Metal Gear, so that would be why. Stockpotato.com for all your Phil potato needs. Oh my god. Okay, so I had this really dumb joke where there was a picture someone posted in Discord I was in, and basically I was trying to like superimpose an onion on the picture. The context of the picture is not important, but what's funny is that the search that I used to try and get an image was it was transparent onion, I think. And I don't know why, I just found that hilarious.